Welcome to the Waffle Flower channel. This is It's in the Details. I'm Nicole, and today I'm showcasing the special delivery stamp set, and I am doing a little mixing and matching with some other Waffle Flower stamp sets, the stocking set and coordinating dies, and Willy and Friends stamps and dies. I'm going to start by stamping the elements that I'm going to be using the Misty Stamp Positioner tool. This makes it easy to stamp quite a few of my elements all at once, as well as to get a really good stamped impression. Just going to ink those up a couple of times with a ink that's going to work well with Copic markers for Copic coloring. I'll go ahead and color in my images. I'm going to show the colors I'm using across either the top or bottom of the screen in case you want to reference that at any point. This is an awesome image. I call it a Santa sack from the special delivery stamp set, but there are so many ways you could use this. It would not have to be a holiday themed gift bag. I am going to be creating a holiday themed card, but I have seen other artists use it in lots of different ways, and it's just an incredible image, very versatile and so much fun to use. Now it's got that great little frame in the front, which you could either die cut, you could make a shaker from it, you could just make a little window to the inside of a card maybe. Lots and lots of different ways to use it. I'm actually going to be using it more as a placement, as I'm going to be die cutting a little label from some white cardstock and stamping it with one of the greetings from the special delivery stamp set. And that way I can, it gives me a good place, I guess I want to say, to put the greeting for my card. Let's put it that way. So I'm going to color in my sack. I've got 3 different colors of red Copic markers here, and I'm going to blend those out. I am concentrating my darkest color where the sack is showing that it's kind of, the drawstring has pulled tight and things like that, where the shadows would naturally fall. And I went over it a few times, getting the best shadowing that I could, just to get that look exactly the way I want it to, or how I want it to look. This is by far the largest image I'm coloring. The rest are all going to be pretty small. They're going to go much, much quicker. Go back over that with my lightest red marker. This is R24, probably my most often used marker. I have refilled this R24 multiple times. It's my favorite red. While I have my red markers out, anything else that's going to be red, at least right off the bat that I know is going to be red, I'm going to go ahead and color. So the candy cane, the Santa hat, both of these are from that stocking stamp set, which I think is a great kind of extra quote unquote stamp set to adorn, or I guess I want to say adorn all of the cute little critters, especially these adorable little Willy monkeys. I think they're so cute, so fun. The Santa hat, the beard are going to just really make this a cute, fun, whimsical design. I am going to move over to my monkey here, and he is colored in shades of brown. I'm using E40, 43, and 44. Keeping my lighter colors to his face and his tummy, and then the 2 darker colors are going to be for the rest of his body. Those big eyes just get me. They are so expressive and fun. As I color him in here, I am going to go in with my darker marker a couple times and add a little bit more detail, darken up that brown area even more. Once I get that completely blended, I am going to take my darkest marker and just add some dot detail. I'll do that in a second. Now, I didn't want to incorporate a whole lot of different color. You really could, especially depending on what color you color in that special delivery sack, or the Santa sack I like to call it. But I chose to go traditional. So I've got a green package here. I have the colors of green markers I used. Here's where I'm adding that dot detail to the monkey. And then I have a couple of cool grays that are just going to add a touch of color to anything white. So the white trim and pom-pom on the Santa hat and the Santa beard, as well as the stripes on the candy cane. I am going to use some Waffle Flower ink to ink up those greenery pieces from the stocking stamp set. This is the Chirp Chirp ink. It's a great ink, green color, which coordinates perfectly with the packages. I did color a package with pink and green up there in the top left corner, and as I colored it, I thought, that's not what I want. So while I did do that one, I'm actually not going to use that. I can save it for another project if I want to. I stamped the package again, and I'm coloring it in red and white, using those cool grays again for the ribbon around the package. And then my two tall packages, I'm going to color another one with green markers just like I did the first one, and the other one is going to have that kind of craft color to it, which actually is the same colors I used for the monkey, but I really like this. I think the neutral color is a good addition. In fact, I liked it so much, I felt like I needed another package so that I'll have a total of 5 on my card, and this one is going to be craft with red ribbon. Once that is all colored in, I'm going to color in the straps on the Santa sack with my browns. Again, I'm going to use E43 and E44. I left those at the beginning because I wasn't quite sure exactly what color I wanted to use. A lot of times as I'm coloring, if I'm not exactly sure, I work on the rest of the elements for the card and I come back to it, because a lot of times that will lead the direction that I want to go just simply by coloring in the other elements or putting together the background or things like that. I'm going to take all the coordinating dies. So I've got the Special Delivery, Stocking, and Willy and Friends dies, tape them in place, and go ahead and die cut those with my Big Shot. I have die cut the little rectangle from Special Delivery from Smooth White Cardstock, and I'm adding the You've Been Nice greeting from that stamp set right to my Santa sack. Now I've got a background panel here from Smooth White Cardstock, and I wanted to create a snowy background, and I didn't really have a Waffle Flower stamp that was snow. A lot of times you can simply look at the stamps you have and use them in different ways. So from the stocking stamp set, there are these little circles that are meant to adorn the stocking, but instead I am using them to create a snowy background. When I tip this paper at an angle, it's a little easier to see, but I'm stamping with Versamark ink, sprinkling on my white embossing powder, and I'm going to just kind of cover about 3/4 of that background panel. This background panel does measure 4 inches by 5¼ inches, so slightly smaller than an A2 sized card. That's going to leave me a slim white border around all 4 sides when I finish this. I'll take my heat tool and melt this embossing powder, and then I'm going to take some Evergreen Bough Distress ink, and I am going to apply this over my stamped and embossed background. It's going to give that great embossed resist look. I started with a light hand. This is Smooth White Cardstock, so I think it's better if you start with a light hand, and as you start applying that ink, you get a nice smooth background. And I thought I needed to pull that ink down just a little bit lower, even though I don't have any snow, droplets of snow or whatever there. So I'm just going to add a little more color there. And then I'm going to start adhering all of my stamped, colored, and die cut elements. So I've got my Santa sack first. I want to center that, and then I want to pop out some presents, some greenery, and my candy cane sticking out of the top of that sack. I just love this image. I think there's so many fun ways to use this. I am using a combination of a tape runner and also glue dots to attach the images depending on how big or small they are. And before I press them too well onto the card, I kind of fiddle with them and lay them there. When I'm happy with how it looks, then I go ahead and press them there pretty good, because they're both very strong adhesives and I don't want them to tear the paper in case I change my mind. So there's that cute little monkey adorned with a Santa beard and Santa hat. We'll have a couple more presents sitting down there on the ground, one of them tucked around his tail. I'm going to finish his eyes with a black glaze pen, and I'm going to sit and let that dry completely because you definitely want to go back in and add those white highlights that make his eyes pop. I'm taking a Stardust glitter pen to the ribbons on the packages and also adding dots of that to the greenery sticking out of the Santa hat, or the Santa sack rather. Some little white highlights on the holly berries, and then I'm going back in and drawing in those highlights in his eyes. Finally, I want to ground the images, so I'm going to take some warm gray markers, and I started with my darkest color, the warm gray 6. I'm going to go over that with warm gray 1 and then warm gray 0, and that's just going to kind of give the illusion that there's some ground there, and it will ground the whole image really nicely. I'm going to cover the back of this panel with foam tape. You don't have to do this. You could adhere it directly to the card base if you wanted to. I wanted my panel to have just a little bit of dimension, so I'm going to completely cover that back panel with foam tape. I tend to like to use a lot of foam tape because I don't want any areas to compress or whatever as it goes through the mail. Don't want any indentions. So I like to make sure it's completely covered. I'll peel all this off and then stick that right on a top fold card base. And that is going to finish up my card design showcasing the special delivery stamp set and dies. For more product information, please visit waffleflower.com. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook for more creative ideas. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.